every divine feminine needs to hear this. And probably every divine masculine as well. So I just got this massive download that has lifted this huge burden from my heart and allowed me to find some peace on my twin flame journey that I feel would be a disservice not to share with the collective. However, I will warn you, there might be some R-rated stuff in this. So my twin flame got with a third party. And to be honest, even to this day, it still really, really hurts me sometimes thinking about that. And I feel so betrayed. And not only just with my twin flame, but my dad, who's cheated on my mom a lot, and my brother, who seems to follow similar codependent kind of patterns and stuff, have been really, really triggering to me recently. And just the masculine in general has been really, really triggering to me lately. And I often find myself with friends and clients kind of venting, and we're talking about men and the masculine, why do they do this to us? Why do they run off with other women and stuff like this? Why you gotta be like that, right? And I also want to preface, this doesn't just apply to men. The download I got in this that's why I like to use the terminology divine masculine energy. Divine masculine energy versus divine feminine energy. So any sort of relationship, whether that is, a gay, lesbian relationship, whether it's hetero, is going to have divine masculine, divine feminine polarities. So basically, if I use man or whatever, I'm referring to the divine masculine. And even in hetero relationships, the divine masculine can be a woman. So it's possible that this is a woman. So anyways, I'm listening to The Power of Now again because it's a fucking amazing book and everyone needs to read or listen to this book. And it's by Eckhart Tolle, if you did not know. But anyways, I was listening to Power of Now, and Eckhart's talking about how the feminine in general is more awakened and more connected to the divine. And so I was just kind of sitting with this, and then boom, one day when I'm doing the dishes, I get this huge download, this rush of information that just totally lifts this burden, this pain from my heart. Feminine energy at its core is spiritual energy, while masculine energy at its core is physical energy. So the feminine generally tends to have a more natural connection with the divine, with source, which is why you might see more women who are psychics, for example, stuff like that, doing intuitive things. The masculine, however, is very, very physical. And as such, the masculine kind of requires the assistance of the feminine to reach the divine. Now, if you are a divine masculine watching this and you're well, that's not fair. I can't experience the divine without my divine feminine. It's not always the case, but as I've worked with tons of clients, I've seen this with friends, I've experienced this myself, I've noticed a pattern that is impossible to ignore. And it's the divine masculine can achieve enlightenment or get attached, get in touch with the divine on their own, but it's gonna be much easier and more natural to do so by connecting through divine feminine, at least to be activated by divine feminine. And here's where it gets a bit R-rated. Sex is honestly the most common way for the divine masculine to be activated by the divine feminine. Sex really is a bridge back to source, back to the divine. It's literally a physical representation of separateness being healed, returning back to unity, back to wholeness, back to oneness. And because the masculine is so physical world oriented, they're more inclined to be drawn to seeking sex as a way to kind of get enlightened and to experience that sense of home and that sense of unconditional love and enlightenment that we really are all wandering around this world seeking. And this, my friends, is where you get that stereotype that women need emotional intimacy to feel safe in a relationship, right? Whereas men need physical intimacy. This is why women are more spiritual, generally. Again, divine feminine, it doesn't always have to be a woman, but we're more spiritual. Men and divine masculine tends to be more physical. So the divine feminine can really just kind of connect in with herself a lot of times when she's having a hard time. She can connect with herself. She has like this direct line to spirit, to source back home, that she can usually access pretty easily. Whereas divine masculine, it's a lot harder to reach that on their own. They kind of need divine feminine to be a bridge back to that. And we all need this experience of the divine, because guess what? At our basest essence, we are source energy. We are unconditional love. We are all love, and we're all just kind of seeking that. So when divine masculine isn't feeling worthy of the divine, he's gonna seek that connection, i.e. sex, that activation, through other feminine energies. This is where like third parties and like cheating and stuff like that happens, because the divine masculine is not feeling worthy of his divine feminine counterpart, which would be like perfect divinity, if that makes sense. But he still needs like that fix, that hit of that unconditional love, of that source energy. So he can't really help himself. He feels drawn to go to these external sources, these other feminine energies. And if you are divine feminine and you are experiencing this, and trust me, I know it fucking sucks, you don't actually have to feel bad about this. You don't have to like chase your masculine and be like, oh yeah, like come back to me. This is a part of his process. You have to just surrender and accept that this is a part of the process. For divine masculine, they actually might need to experience like these lesser forms of divinity to recognize the worthiness that already lives inside of them, which then allows them to feel worthy of you and will naturally bring them back to you. They kind of have to like work their way up to you, if that makes sense. So this has brought me so much peace and so much understanding, which has then allowed acceptance of this situation that I'm personally experiencing, not just with my twin flame, but honestly, I can say I felt very much abandoned by basically every man and every masculine energy in my life ever, in favor of like a sexual relationship at one point or another. And this truth, I guess, this download that I received has allowed me so much peace. And I hope that it's able to give you like at least even a fraction of that. I hope this is making sense and this is allowing something to click for you. Let me know, does this make sense? Do you have any thoughts that you'd like to share? Anything you'd like to add here? I'd be happy to hear more about that. If you are like really resonating with this subject and this is making sense, I would highly encourage you to check out Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now and A New Earth. I feel like he talks about this concept a little more in both of those, and I found it really validating because I've always kind of intuitively known this, but as like a woman, a female divine feminine energy, I thought this might just be like my ego being like, oh yeah, like women, the divine feminine is more connected to the divine, like we're so cool. So it's really validating that a man and a masculine energy validates that this is just a thing, and I hope that will validate this for you too, whether you identify as a divine feminine or divine masculine energy. So I've talked enough, but if you're struggling on your journey, you want some more support, hit me up on ownyourpowers.com. I am taking on some new coaching clients, and I'm happy to support you on your twin flame journey as you work through this and come to accept sometimes difficult truths, right? Much love to you, my friend.